our constitutional rights. But there's a limit to those rights. And violence, when you get to that, or when you are true, not the insurrection that the Democrats talked about, the lie of an insurrection, when we just wanted the evidence to actually do the investigation on election fraud, but real insurrection that we have right now with all of these different groups who are actively trying to overthrow our government. There's a big difference there. That is not political speech either.
Right. Ben, we're seeing the same thing, though, but in an opposite way. You can do this, though, in Ireland and in England and in France. Can't do it in Poland if you're a Muslim. And we're seeing,
That's right.
We're watching such a globalist agenda play out right here in front of us. Whatever works for a globalist, one world, we know what they're looking to do, agenda, no problem. But if white people want to say something, there's two standards of justice. Well, there's so many layers and levels and standards of justice. This isn't even America anymore.
I was in Europe this summer 3 times, actually. I was in France and England, and then we spent more time over on the east part of the country, or the continent. And everywhere you go there, other than Romania, Hungary, and Poland, they are gone. They have been Islamized by this woke agenda of open borders. It all goes back to the global, this idea of the global reset by the World Economic Forum. It's all tied together. It's the global elites that want to remake the world in their utopian vision of communism, of redistribution, of one world government where they control it and you just sit under their thumbs. And when that happens, there's no more Constitution. All these things that we love so much, that we take for granted in America, they're gone. And if Europe's gone, for the most part right now, I don't see Europe being saved. America is the last stronghold. And if America falls, the world falls. And that's what these guys understand. That's why they are going out. For the next 4 years, it's going to be like this. You're going to have judicial tyranny. You're going to have people being... You're going to have the attacks like this going on every single week. There's going to be some new outrage that they're going out. There's going to be some new George Floyd. There's going to be some new illegal that gets rightfully deported. All of that. Just be prepared. This is civil war. We're in it right now, and we either win it or we lose it. It's this generation's fight.
Well, Ben, to that exact point, as you're talking, I'm sitting here looking at a tweet 5 minutes ago from Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who says on June 14th, which is, 5 days from now, there will be protests across the country that we have found out are being backed by a communist group with ties to the CCP. These groups are using ICE protests as a ruse. MAGA, do not show up. Do not show up in gear. If you do attend and witness illegal activity, record faces and license plate. We will ask you to submit footage and information to the FBI. This is orchestrated. So when you talk about more to come, and we're talking about, this is to push the boundaries to see where the defense perimeters are, basically, and see what they can get away with here in the second Trump term. She just put this out literally 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, wait till you see. I got an interview with these 3 Chinese nationals. 2 of them are students at UCLA. One of them's here working. He said, I actually got the guy's name. It says F Trump. They're out there with their F ICE, abolish ICE, and saying F Trump. You got CCP in America right now. You've got all of these universities across America with these Confucius institutes that have been teaching this for years. We have allowed it in. I mean, we have. You think of the Trojan horse with the Greeks and the Romans. We've allowed hundreds of Trojan horses in.
Yeah.
And
all right, Ben, hold it right there. We got to hit the break. We got to hit the break. Top of the hour. Let's hit it. We'll get back to Ben. Hour 2 coming up live from Studio 6B right after this.
I love that guy.
Chat live in the chat.
That whole computer, Aaron, just shut down in the control room. No idea, just shut down. It was on the sign-in screen when I got in there.
I'm glad Ben was right down. I'm just glad Glenn is right on the same page. This is all part of the global agenda. This is how they get unrest everywhere they want it, and they create the only thing stopping one world government is our Constitution. It's that because it was so well written. This has to get squashed.
The only thing standing between us right now is Trump.
without a doubt.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how well it's written if it's not being adhered to.
But 250 years is a sick run. The
No, I
fact
know.
that it's gone on, if it wasn't for Trump, this would be over. This is why we are MAGA. This just, I mean, I don't know if you saw some of the stories that are going on about Palantir and how much money Epstein had invested in Palantir, and it's worth $200 million, and how Palantir had funded Elon Musk's brother to join him at the island a few times. We have time to get to it. This is so hairy, this story. We'll get to it tomorrow, maybe.
They finally made a Happy Gilmore 2?
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that.
How did it look?
Like, it could be good, but it could also be awful.
Like it's probably 15 years too late?
Yeah, I mean, they do some clever things with it, but it's just a nostalgia dip, I think.
Jets. Let's see what's going on.
All right, so Aaron, I guess going into hour 2, just keep Ben's connection up if we can, and if it looks like, I mean, I don't know, that the second segment seemed a little more calm there. That first segment, boy, it seemed like something was going to go down. But let's just, we'll keep it.
If your television sounds funny in the evening, you're watching live from Studio 6B.
All right, it is live from Studio 6B on a Monday, June 9th. Real America's Voice all across the country. Delgado's here maybe do some news.
Maybe.
We're live with Ben Bergquam, which is more riveting than any news we could probably be doing. So, and Paul Nolan's here as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Slicks off till Wednesday. Vinnie Mac and KDJ will join us at certain days throughout the week as well. But let's go back to Ben if we can, if we still have him, because I know he had a couple other things he wanted to talk about. So let's bring Ben back in. Ben Bergquam live from L.A. And Ben, I know there's other media. I saw out there covering, obviously, besides you, Bill McGurn from, I guess it's Fox or something, says being there tonight where you are, he says it just has the feeling that like something is going down tonight. He's like, I've been here the last couple nights, but tonight just has a different feeling. I kind of sensed that in that first segment we did with you when things started moving. Now it seems like maybe it's calmed down a little bit, but are you getting the sense that tonight could really just turn ugly?
Yeah, the coordination by Antifa that I saw earlier in the day, in fact, they recognized me at one point, and before our security showed up, it was just me out here solo, and they started surrounding me. I had guys on phones calling people clearly they were going to come and try to do something to me. Thankfully, our guys showed up, and we're all good now. But all of it's coordinated, and you do get that sense. Anytime you're at these guys are, it's good versus evil. You get that demonic spirit. You can feel it. It's as a Christ follower, you can feel it. And the demonic spirit is right over there. And the more of those demonic spirits you have, the more of that sense that you get. And there's no question about it. What you guys saw, so it was, that first wave, they pushed them back. You had rocks being thrown. You had some explosions happening. This is the MO of Antifa and the left. As you guys were already talking about, they test your perimeters, they test the security, and so they'll come through here, they'll test this line of guys, and then a group of them will run around the other side of the building. When I say a group, sometimes hundreds, sometimes a few thousand, to another point, or they'll move up, they'll actually drive to another part of the city and come in from another angle, and they'll look for areas, gaps in security where they can cause violence, or in some cases, they simply move out into the city and then just go and burn down and break windows and do the criminal activity that they want to do. But back to, you guys made the point earlier that if you get caught as a foreign national in America flying a flag, protesting America, you should absolutely be deported. There should be a law on that. But the other thing is, if you look at the people out here, the ones that are going to commit violence, they all have their faces covered. If you had a law, and this goes out to my buddy Brad Beaumont, if you had a law in America that you couldn't protest with your face covered, half of these people would go away, because the only reason they're out here to commit crimes is they know they're going to get away with it because of anonymity. Even with all the cameras and everything else, covering up their face for whatever reason gives them a free pass to do whatever they want. If you took those covers off and you realize that lady's a school teacher and that lady works at your grocery store and that that person is the principal at your school, they would not be out here.
Oh yeah.
No, those people need to be, and that's a great point. Those people need to be scooped up. Just grab them. They're the ones that they should surround them. And cordon them off, because all of a sudden now they've got a problem. Like you said, they don't want to be unmasked. They don't want people to know who they are because they're cowards, but also because they don't want their lives disrupted. They don't want to have to answer.
That's right.
They don't want to have to go to court. They don't want to have to answer to anybody. They don't want to have to end up in handcuffs, and they don't want to be seen as insurrectionists. They don't
want to be accountable for their actions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's it. That's the bottom line.
That's it.
Yeah.
It would be at some point getting into law that we can surround these people, like you said, and dox them.
Right.
You're wearing a mask and you're throwing a rock.
Yeah.
You right away you're wrapped up and you're on the front page of the paper.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing too is we were talking about this before when we broke away from you, Ben, but let me ask you, of all the because you just said you got surrounded by a bunch of Antifa types. Let me ask you, how many of those looked illegal as opposed to just regular white Americans, liberal Americans?
There was a decent contingent of illegals out here earlier. What you see right now are mostly the Antifa, communists, white liberals.
Right.
The traditional American hating that were brought up with the silver spoon but taught to hate their country liberals that we have out here that have been given a green light to cause violence. And this goes back to years of not being spanked, of not getting the discipline you deserve, of not being prosecuted in these liberal cities. While Republicans or while conservatives are prosecuted, they were given free passes, and they're still given free passes. Again, as soon as that stops, as soon as these guys get 20-year prison sentences, that's going to stop. Or they get their asses whooped a few times. That's going to stop. This is simply an outgrowth of, going back to your point, of not having to be responsible for your actions. As soon as you have to be, this all goes away.
Yeah.
Nobody wants this anymore. And it goes back, too, to the cancel culture. They used cancel culture effectively against MAGA for years. It worked in President Trump's first term. So many people I know lost their jobs, lost their friends, lost their families. It's not working anymore. The American people are like, you want to call me a fascist, a Nazi, or whatever? Ironically, the same people that are calling us fascists and Nazis are out there wanting to wipe Israel off the map. You want to call us any name you want. It doesn't work on us anymore. We know who we are. But we need the reverse response. We've got to have cancel culture against the left. We've got to have cancel culture against communists in America, against jihadists in America. They are not compatible with our nation.
No, definitely
We got
not.
some more movement, guys. So we'll see what happens.
It really is about time. Anytime you see someone...
Heads up.
What's we got?
You got something going down.
Heads up. We got, looks like some... Oh, we got somebody down on the ground here. Oh, here we go. Heads up. Watch for rocks, guys. So this guy came in from the side, and it looked like he tried to ram people with the scooter, and then these less than lethal canisters were deployed, so these get shot out. They're rubber, basically large rubber bullets. That's what you heard, some of those explosions going off. And they have CS gas in them too, so I'm smelling a little of that. I don't want to taste that anymore.
So Ben, is there a perimeter that these guys want to keep these people beyond? What is incentivizing them when to push back, when to move, when not to move? Are they trying to keep them specifically in one?
That's a good question. No, that's a good question. It's you know, they've got, so we've got actually the sheriffs there now shooting tear gas into the crowd. You know, we're not getting the radio communication between the police, so we don't really know what's making them make those decisions. Although when we were behind the police line on the other side, we did hear some of the chatter, and they were talking about certain people, certain agitators that they had their eyes on, certain vehicles in the area. And so clearly they were making decisions about when to push and how hard to push based on that. And a lot of this goes back to the city you're in. You know, if this was a conservative city, this would never have happened. This would never be allowed to happen. But because it's run by a bunch of leftists, a bunch of woke leftists, these guys have been coddled forever. And so they're trying to push them back, make it look like they have it under control, but not hurt their feelings while they do it. That's kind of the sense that you get. It's like the police, they're, you know, they're...
Ben, I'm reminded, Ben, speaking of leadership in California, I'm reminded here from our friend John Rich of Big and Rich of a headline here. Governor Newsom activates National Guard to bolster state's COVID-19 testing capacity. So he thought it was important enough to activate the National Guard for that, but certainly he won't do it for this.
Right. No, of course not, because they've got it under control, Damon, don't you know? This is... They can't. So one of the things, if we let's shoot back over here real quick, one of the things we saw in Chicago, this is the base. So they're in some ways they're stuck in a tough spot because they've created this monster and they can't control it. And so you've got all these liberal mayors and governors. You got Gavin Newsom trying to come back to the center because clearly he wants to run for president, and so he has to pretend like he supports law and order. But the base of the Democrat Party is that. It's what you see behind me. It's American-hating, leftist, communist, jihadists, and baby killers. All of that, and transgender that don't know what, you know, if they're male or female, depending on the day. That is the base of the Democrat Party.
100%.
That's it. And so if you offend them too much, then you're going to lose your base. And so everything that they're doing is coordinated through that lens of, okay, we have to make it look like we're strong on this issue, when in reality we can't be, because that's our entire party. If we actually do that, if we actually supported the rule of law, if we actually supported ICE doing their jobs, then we would lose our entire base of our party, the illegal alien, illegal voters that we've relied on for so long. And as you guys mentioned earlier, as they're losing the black vote because the black community realizes that they've been abandoned by the Democrats, they're trying to backfill it with illegals. So to them, this deportation, you know, Joe Biden was a savior. He invited the invasion to backfill their voters, and then President Trump is the Antichrist because he's coming in and saying, nope, you guys got to go. And so that's this dilemma that they're in. They have to pretend like they're actually going to do something, when in reality, this is what they want. They want chaos, partly because they want America to be so sick of it, say, fine, President Trump, that's enough. We don't need the deportations. ICE, that's enough. Ultimately, that's what they want. They want to stop the deportations and you know, prevent America from being saved.
Well, they should look at a poll, because the president's losing ground on certain things you can point to and say, okay, maybe inflation, he's losing a little ground here, a little ground there. This is not one of the things where he's losing any ground. As a matter of fact, the majority of the American people are absolutely with him in what he's doing, in the fact that these people don't belong here. The fact that I saw it on The View, Sonny Hostin almost had a stroke when the other Dumbo girl who's on that thing said, you know, most of the American people think that if you're undocumented, that's enough for you to be deported. And she said, really? You know, this is one of the areas where he's not losing support.
You're on the courtyard.
Yeah. No, this, and you know what I love about it too is it's like, hey, if you think this is a winning strategy for you Democrats, keep doing it. If you think flying foreign countries' flags in America and burning the American flag is a winning strategy for you, keep doing it. It's like they're tone deaf to the reality of politics. I mean, this is, I cannot imagine anybody in this country, and I guess maybe if you live in that liberal bubble where you went to that liberal school and you were taught that America is this terrible place, maybe you just think that everybody has that same idiotic ideology, mindset, but to the average American, they see this crap and they want all these people gone. They don't care if they're illegals or U.S. citizens. I mean, that's, look, I look at this and I say, you hate this country so much? Go anywhere else in the world. I am totally fine with that. Go be like Ellen DeGeneres. Go to Ireland or wherever the hell she is now. Anywhere else in the world. But, you know, this is, they have, it's in business. In business, we talked about it. It's overcommitment bias. I think the Democrats have overcommitment bias to failed ideas, and they hope that they can destroy this country before the critical mass of Americans wake up and say, oh, you guys have sucked from the beginning.
Yeah. All right, live from Studio 6B, we're bringing you live coverage of what's going on in Los Angeles. Ben Burke, I'm on the ground. Well, you're getting live shots here as the action's happening. We'll continue this with Ben. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back. Live from Studio 6B on a Monday.
Chat live in the chats. Got a super chat. What'd you say, Paul?
No, well said, Sarge. Sarge said a bully doesn't stop bullying until he's punched in the mouth.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they need to be punched hard, swiftly, and mercifully.
Yeah, with an M16.
Old guy in Texas, $5 super chat in the YouTubes. Since Slick Rick is not here, I thought I'd provide some baseball scores. Thank you, old guy in Texas. He's reporting 3-2, 5-2, 1-0, and 1-3. Tied in the 11th, 5-5. That's a wrap, Big D.
Okay. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell, My Pillow.
And old guy in Texas.
Shopper Dad, like maybe today, you could still get it for Sunday, today or tomorrow.
Is Sunday already Father's Day?
Yes.
Thank you, Marty Cantrell. Let's hit that like button again since we got dropped computer law. What did it have, a power surge?
Yeah, something happened.
I said Antifa did it. People thought I was serious. Those dirty mugs can't get near us, you see?
Mike Yax is in there. Moon Pie. David Lucaro.
High velocity lead vaccinations. Exactly, Christy.
NG Girl 54.
We still have Ben up, right, in case there's action? Okay.
9:30 guest. Hello. Hello. Wow, we got 2,500 in the Twix chat right now. Twixing out.
I mean, obviously, this is not, kind of a planned show, but I mean, I think it's good stuff with Ben. Why not keep going, right?
Keep going.
As long as there's action there.
As long as
the news. I mean, what else is there anything else really that you need to cover? That's really like big.
Well, I got the LA riots. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
We're doing that.
I know. I'm kidding. Jackass.
You're a jackass.
You're a jackass.
Just World War III brewing over in Europe, but other than that,
what'd you say?
World War III is brewing in Europe, but other than that, we're good.
Well, we're talking about the LA riots.
Oh, and I got Dr. Mike Yearden.
What's that?
Dr. Michael Yearden. You like him?
Yeah.
Not you. Him.
I know who he is.
Okay.
You see the COVID news John Solomon broke today?
No.
Let me talk to you about our friends at Birch Gold. Since Trump was sworn in, it's incredible to think of the progress the administration has already made. It's not easy to move mountains at the speed of light. However, when they're trying to right the country, they can't also take your personal finances into account. You have to do that for yourself. And that's why thousands of Americans are buying gold right now from Birch Gold. Here are a couple of the reasons they're doing that. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 30%. Central banks are buying gold in record quantities, so the demand doesn't seem to be subsiding. And of course, most importantly, the Rio reset, as I've been telling you, is on the horizon here in July, where BRICS nations are looking to unseat the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency. But you can find peace of mind in gold. Birch Gold makes it extremely easy to convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or you can even buy some to store in your home safe. All you got to do is text the word America to 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free information kit on gold. There's no obligation, only useful information. An A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau they have. Tens of thousands of happy customers. Take control of protecting your savings today. Text the word America to the number 989898. Let our friends from Birch Gold, well, start you down the path and see if if gold is right for you. And if it is, certainly reach out to Birch Gold to do it. All right, folks, speaking of great people, another great organization, and that, of course, is AMAC. Let's talk about winning, and I mean real winning. President Trump's back in charge, and in just 5 months, we've seen it with our own eyes. The border is being secured, deportations are happening, the woke agenda is crashing, and the military is getting back to strength. But make no mistake about it, this isn't a one-man show. It's an all-hands-on-deck moment. If we want Congress to stop playing games and start passing laws that reflect the America First agenda, we need to step up collectively. That's why we're proud to stand with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. It's the Patriots' alternative to AARP, and for just $12 a year, you get a hard-hitting magazine, deep discounts, free resources, and most importantly, a seat at the table in the fight for family, faith, and freedom. So don't sit on the sidelines a second longer. Go to right now to amac.us/studio6B, amac.us/studio6B, and join the movement. AMAC is fighting for you, so let's fight for them. Let's get the country back. amac.us/studio6B, amac.us/studio6B. All right, 19 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We've been covering mostly all night what's going on in L.A., and we're keeping you want to throw that full screen just for a second there, Aaron, so we can see that shot looks a little tighter than what it was before,
different.
a little closer.
Yep.
Ben looks like
look.
it's right up on the line now.
The invisible man is there.
Claude Rains. I'm dying to ask Ben, we know when it gets dark. After dark, it's going to get way worse. I think we could all agree on that. I want to know how long Ben's going to be there and if he has any security with him, because every time these riots end up they escalate to the next level when it gets around 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. Well, let's see what happens there. I'm very curious to see.
What's the ETA on the Marine showing up to, by the way? I'd like to know that. And by the way, let me also put out there, I don't know if people know this, Sean Parnell, who, of course, is the assistant to the Secretary of Defense for Public Affairs, also put out about 45 minutes ago, so I think this is fairly new. At the order of the President of the United States, the Department of Defense is now mobilizing an additional 2,000 California National Guard to be called into federal service to support ICE and to enable federal law enforcement officers to safely conduct their duties. So again, 2,000 more California National Guard being called into federal service by the order of the President tonight. Ben, if you can hear me, we're back to you. What's set the scene?
Yeah.
Anything changed?
Yeah. So to Rick's question, yes, it gets worse as the night goes on. The violence, the more anonymity, the easier chance these guys have of getting away, the more violent they become. So it's what typically happens. I used to do this all the time. I've got stitches from Berkeley. I've got hit in the back of the head. I've gotten bottles thrown at me. I've gotten spit in my mouth. I've gotten all kinds of lovely things from these leftists. And I got to the point where I feel like if you're in a liberal city and you want to burn down your liberal city, I actually don't care. I just say if you want to burn down. So I go home. I go home at this stuff, partly also because I've got a known face now, and so I become a target. And I've got girls at home, and there's no point in doing stupid things. So I'm not going to be out here late. Honestly, as soon as we're done, I'm starving. I've been out since 5 a.m. I'm going to probably go get something to eat and crash. But Real America's Voice News, there's a lot of young guys that we can hire to do that. We've got stringers out there that are going to be out in the mix tonight getting all the good stuff for you guys. So, but I look, like I said, if this wasn't an ICE protest, I wouldn't even be here. If Antifa wants to burn down their city because woke Democrats have allowed them to do it, I say let them burn it down, personally.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
All right, Ben. Well, we certainly don't want to be the reason you're hanging out any longer in this mess. So we'll let you go, unless I know it seems like you're still. Is there a target of this move that they stop at, or are they where are they hoping
That's
to
a good
move this
question.
to?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because at some point, oh, here we go. Here we got some action over here. So there was some. This was one of the news vans here. It looks like they slashed their tires, broke their windows. So that was some
looks
action we
pretty
missed
peaceful.
earlier, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, peacefully vandalizing, and it's funny. It's Telemundo too. That's one of their, their
Oh,
accomplices.
the irony.
But yeah, but no, there doesn't seem to be. I mean, I'm sure they have a reason for it. I just don't know what that reason is. But what they end up doing is they'll walk them out to a certain perimeter, and then once they feel like it's sufficiently locked down around the strategic areas they're trying to protect, in this case it's the ICE building, the federal building, City Hall, then they'll make that perimeter, and then they pretty much let the protesters do what they want, or they'll send a group of police out to basically kind of nanny and follow them around the city all night. And if they commit, criminal acts, then sometimes they'll arrest them, and sometimes they'll just keep following them around until they get tired enough and they go back to their mom's basements.
Yeah. So, Ben, for someone like me who doesn't know L.A. that well, other than, like, let's say the Capitol Records building and obviously the Walk of Fame and, people, the kind of the iconic places there, where are you in reference? I mean, I know L.A. is pretty big, but where are you in reference to, like, those kind of places where people kind of know?
We're right downtown. So City Hall, we're right in the middle of the 101, the 10, and the 110. We're about 3 blocks right now from the 101. And the 101, it appears that's why they moved everyone this way, because they've continued to, watch this guy, we've got something, looks like he may deploy. I want to get him shooting that if I can. But it'd just be a great shot. Sorry. I see this guy jump out of his truck with his this tear gas canister. I want to see him shoot the thing. But it appears they're pushing them off the 101 because this group continues to go, and over and over and over, they've blocked the 101. And again, they have a mayor and a city council that has stand-down orders, and they basically just let them interrupt the citizens of LA traffic for as long as they want, for hours and hours and hours, in a city that's already a nightmare for traffic. So that appears to be what they've done, is just push them further south, away from the 101, into more kind of in between. So we're kind of, if you look at your map of downtown, you've got the 101 to our north, you've got the 10 to our east.
What's happening to your right? Looks like more and more of them are focused to the right there. What's
Yeah, well, so this is, now you got these little bike boys over here. So you got this group of little local thugs that have come out. So the perimeter has moved down here, but this is all kind of open. And really, if something were to happen, it would probably happen right here.
the miniature moped gang, looks like?
Yeah, they got.
I remember those when I was a kid. The mini bike.
So they're doing their little burnouts, they're doing their little sideshows.
Maybe Officer Johnson right there wants to fire one of those things and hit one of those guys right between the, the family jewels like we got used to seeing in the other rides.
If you want to shoot it, we don't mind.
I want to see a kid puke up tear gas.
All right, we got to hit the break here. Let's hit the break. If Ben has to go, let him go. I don't want to be responsible for keeping him there. All right, live from Studio 6B. We're back. A little more after this.
Especially when
those are the best videos. Acting so tough, and then the guy shoots him right.
The guy does
Yeah.
Oh, Steve Inman is so good. By the way, I couldn't get Ben to give me a follow back on X, and now he gives you credit for my question, man. He's dropping in my. I might unfollow him and think I don't hurt him.
That's the problem. Rick and Rick. He's got a
Just change your name.
This was a Paul, though.
Paul,
This wasn't a Rick.
66% chance of getting it right if he says Rick.
Paul,
So.
change your name. You'll be fine.
That's great. I'm glad he's leaving, though. I'm glad. Family man. He just doesn't need to be there. He's paid his dues. I would love to see a 1,000-foot aerial drone shot of what it looks like overhead. If we, maybe we can
So I
call.
kind of wanted them to know. I kind of wanted to understand more where he is. I don't know LA that well, but you kind of know
if
the
you can,
Capitol
maybe
Records building. And
Call Sig and ask him to send the drone over.
yeah, sure.
Did you guys see this? Gavin Newsom having a war of words. Well, Newsom had dared Holman
Frank,
to
can you
cuff
give me
him.
a pronunciation here?
Gavin Newsom, I don't know if you saw this. Tom Holman, he dared him to arrest him, and he said, "Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with, tough guy." And then
I have that clip.
Trump chimed in. If you have that clip, it's great because it was classic Trump. I like Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's stupid. It's like he's severely underqualified for his job.
He's incompetent.
Incompetent, right?
Aaron? Okay. Oh, I thought oh. Gotcha.
Corey Perry scores again. The 40-year-old leading this series and tied for the goals. Yeah.
One.
The Florida just got jobbed on that power play, though, man. Edmonton went.
Lee, can you hear me?
There should have been 3 penalties on Edmonton after that. I don't know how they got a power play out of it. I want to see a tight game, that's for sure.
Lee, do you hear me, Lee? Lee, hello, testing, Lee? I don't hear her. Okay. Well, try to get me a pronunciation if we can get her.
So
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday night, 30 minutes past the hour. Real America's Voice. We've spent most of the night with Ben Berquam, the great Ben Berquam, who's on the ground, obviously in L.A. with everything that's going on in Los Angeles with the riots. And I guess we probably still have Ben up. We'll keep an eye on Ben. But let's do a little other news right now. If something happens that we need to get to, Aaron, let me know. We'll get right out to Ben. But let's do some other news with Rick Delgado. News is brought to you by our friends at EternalLifeCoin.com. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, you know what? Over in Gaza, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the New York Times just confirmed yesterday something we've all known for years, that Hamas operated a tunnel beneath the hospitals, the European Gaza hospital, for weeks after casting doubt on its existence instead of condemning Hamas for using the hospital as a terror base. However, the New York Times framed the tunnel as a matter of clashing narratives, according to what they wrote. Patrick Kingsley wrote in the Sunday article of the New York Times, "What we saw in that dark and narrow tunnel is one of the war's biggest Rorschach tests. It's the embodiment of a broader narrative battle between Israelis and Palestinians over how the conflict should be portrayed." Really? Tunnels underneath the hospital so you can wage war while using the innocent, or I should say the people of that area, as human shields. That is the way the New York Times frames it, according to this Times reporter Patrick Kingsley. The Israelis, the location of an underground passage, highlights Hamas's abuse of civilians, and to the Palestinians, Israel's decision to target the hospital highlights Israel's own disregard for civilian life, while excusing the fact that Hamas is using civilians as a human shield. So that's always fun. That's a nice Sunday surprise for you, everybody over there in the Middle East, having to deal with that. I don't know if you saw this as well. California Rep. Maxine Waters. Yes, Mother Jefferson, if you're a fan of George Jefferson. Mother Jefferson has been charged with a $68,000 fine for the federal Election Commission due to alleged financial misconduct.
That's a joke, by the way.
What is?
Absolute joke.
You think she's innocent?
No.
Oh, okay. Good.
I think she's funneled millions of dollars to her daughter. This fine is a joke.
Yeah,
she should be arrested.
The FEC reportedly found the committee failed to report contributions accurately, accepted excessive contributions, and made unlawful cash disbursements. The Citizens for Water campaign will pay the fine and send its treasurer to mandatory training as a, because you got to be retrained.
That's great work if you can get it. Funnel millions of dollars to your daughter through some scam wannabe business, PR business, or whatever, and then take a $62,000 fine after she's made $20 million and have to go to training. Oh, geez, thanks.
Yeah. And speaking of Mother Jefferson, Maxine Waters, here she is mouthing off to the National Guard as only a person, a scumbag like her could. Yes, I said she. Cut number 8. Here she is mouthing off at the National Guard, Maxine Waters.
What are you going to do? You going to shoot some kid who's afraid of you and run?
What a moron. Shut up, you idiot.
You better shoot straight.
She said, if you're going to shoot me, you better shoot straight.
You did.
Believe me, they're not going to have to lead you too far. I don't think you're that fast.
And his outrageous attempt.
Yeah, this is what incited violence to kill children.
Now, pay attention. What is she doing? She's trying to get herself some publicity. Look at everybody that she's got to make sure that they get this on
that none of you will use those guns to shoot anybody. There's no reason to shoot anybody. Don't allow them to make
Get this moron off the screen. Good God. Shut up, you idiot.
I'm surprised you let her go that far, David.
Well, you were talking over the whole thing, which I didn't mind, but usually I would mind, but I didn't care because who wants to hear her? She's her dumb ass. I don't need to hear her. She's an idiot.
Good point. And speaking of points made regarding what we're seeing, not only in L.A. right now, but what they intend to do this weekend, talking about the plan, the execution to create a one-world government. Here's Dr. Mike Eden, former VP at Pfizer, telling you to reject digital ID, among other things, as this is all part of the UN's agenda. And again, it kind of coincides with, what Paul had mentioned and what Ben had mentioned as well. Check it out. Here's cut number 11. Check this out.
If you follow the breadcrumbs to 2030, anyone can look up the UN 2030 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. By 2030, Britain specifically will have no commercial passenger aircraft leaving the country. You will not be able to leave. There will be no ships leaving the country. You will not own private transport. You will have a digital ID to do everything, and you will only have electronic money with which to transact. I would say at that point you are a slave, and because you can see them coming, you should say no. Say no right now. Stop. The things that are happening are really fantastic, but they go back decades. There's no question that there's been a very long run-up to the level of control that we are going to face if we allow cash to be winked out of existence.
Yeah, and he's talking about, cash being pushed out of existence.
Yeah. I mean, this was originally Agenda 21. Trump threw a wrench into that. They pushed it back to Agenda 2030. I've been reading about this since 2000. This is not fake. This is not a joke. This is their way to that'll be the solution to come up with a digital currency so we never have a banking crisis or collapse again. Same exact playbook in 1913. It's the same thing they'll do now. And no fiat money has lasted more than 50 years. We're at 70 now. So since 71, which we went to the petrodollar, we're at 60. So we're just something bad is about to happen, and it's. It's so concerning, this digital ID. Palantir's role in this 17 agencies is going to give all their data into one place, and Palantir cannot be trusted.
Yeah.
You say something?
Oh, can I keep going?
Yeah.
Awesome. Because I got this, I don't know if you saw this as well. We talk about the instigators, the people that are funded, that are paid, that are set up to do what you're seeing in L.A. And again, what they're going to try and do come this Saturday around the country. And hopefully they just stick to blue cities because, like Ben, I really don't care about the blue cities. You want to tear them up, feel free. I don't go to them. I don't live there, and I don't care. Here, check this out. This is cut number 2, kind of a flashback back to when the Dems actually got busted infiltrating Trump rallies. Here's cut number 2. Check this out.
First, the video. In this one released yesterday, a man named Scott Fovel, that's him, who was a contractor for Democracy Partners, is seen and heard discussing hiring people to attend Trump rallies and basically to start fights. This is a quote. He says, I mean, honestly, it's hard to get some of these, is what he says, to pop off. It's a matter of showing up to get in their alley in a Planned Parenthood T-shirt or Trump is a Nazi T-shirt. What he's describing, Jake, is his plan to intentionally put people into a Trump event so that a fight could start, and that fight or that violence or that reaction by Trump fans would be caught on media cameras, and that would be the narrative for that campaign. That man, Scott Fovel, who you just saw being recorded undercover, has been fired. The guy who hired him, Bob Kramer, is also on that video. He's the one who was under contract with the DNC. His wife is a congressman from Chicago, Jan Schakowsky. I just spoke with Bob Kramer on the phone, and he said that Fovel, the man on tape, is basically a braggart.
Yeah, so they're trying to, again,
distance himself from the right.
Yeah.
But we've seen so much of that. Out of, by the way, try to find the stage videos at, January 6th on Google or YouTube. They have been scrubbed. And there was so much evidence of provocateurs. And this is, in their own words, talking about what they want to do to incite violence. They are the insurrectionists. And that's why when we see this thing, this No Kings, nokings.org. I really want people to go there, see where it is in your local city, and do not go there dressed as MAGA. Go there with a camera and take pictures of people and post them. And post these people's faces because, as Rick and Ben said earlier, these are your school teachers. These are your people at your grocery store. These are detached liberals whose algorithm has taught them to hate this country, to hate you, to hate anybody who likes liberty, who hate anybody who loves our country and honors our Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah. And remember, Paul, I played for you the other day, Mike Benz, with the CIA playbook, breaking down how they were able to, and you're probably seeing this all play out right on your TV screens when you see the people who end up being teachers and lawyers and pharmacists and whatever regular job they might have during the day. But you know what? They get sucked into this culture and they get programmed basically to jump up there and say, I'll go do it, because they've been trained to be this way. And they just and like Ben said, what the CIA looks for, they look for a moment where they can trigger them, and all of a sudden you've got these, say, maybe 100 influencers throughout universities, lawyers, teachers, what have you. All of a sudden, the people that they've infected, they're able to round those people up to get them to react, and that's what they're trying to do, and that's basically been the playbook. Yeah,
and it works because there are so many people who are not aware. That's why, it's nice to be able to have a voice here to get this out to people and let them know what's going on. But everyone's got to be vigilant. Tell their neighbors. Tell their people who say, I don't care about politics. Tell your people who might be, I guess I like Trump, but I just wish he would shut up. Just keep talking to those people, but be tactful, be decent, be graceful, but make sure you are constantly sharing the word that this is all part of a giant agenda. It is no longer a conspiracy theory. My tinfoil hat isn't buzzing and shining like it was in 2008 when I would be raving about this stuff. It's here. It's at our doorstep. And if we didn't win that last election with Trump, if this didn't happen, we would already be living in a digital technocratic rule, and there is no stopping the war machine. There's no stopping the central bankers who want complete control. Yeah. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and what's interesting, it kind of reminds me, and I forgot the guy's name. I'm trying to look it up, but basically, you only need 2% of people need to take action for change to actually happen. That's the rule. You only need to activate 2%. Whether it's nonviolent or even in small, small groups, the idea of these life-changing improvements comes from grand gestures or monumental shifts in a common misconception. While people often think that it's a perfect routine, it's actually something where 2% of the people, if they're activated, you'll see them on the cameras. That's all you need, because that's all you need is a large crowd on the camera.
Yeah, and the media runs cover, and they, as we say, wrap up scene, but this is big. They just amplify the daylights out of it, and the media is in full cooperation with this globalist agenda.
Yeah. So anywhere between 2 and 3.5%, it says here, can exact monumental change, according to this article from the BBC I'm seeing right now. Nonviolent protests are twice as likely to succeed as armed conflicts, and those engaging a threshold of 3.5% of the population have never failed to bring about change. Think about that.
That's...
All right, we'll take a quick break. We come back. Final segment of a fast and furiously moving show. And we'll wrap things up. We'll see you guys in the chat live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. Stay there. All right, chat live in the chat. Is anybody else having issues? Issues?
I hardly even know you.
I feel like I keep getting dropped out of chats. Or we keep getting cut off here or there.
It's really just truly astounding, LA. Like, I mean, these people legitimately think ICE is a greater threat than MS-13. Only LA could be that stupid, right?
Yeah. Well, not only LA. You can go to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They've got the market.
You can go to Seattle. You can go to Portland.
There we go. They up them. Even more stupid.
Yeah. You can go to Chicago. Chicago doesn't seem as bad anymore. I think the people there have fatigued on the Democratic BS.
So I also wanted to mention that George Soros funded PAC to launch Blue Texas effort after Democrats failed to flip the state. This is a group known as the Texas Majority PAC is set to launch its Blue Texas initiative on Monday. I'd like to talk about that briefly, just at least get it out there, let people know to share that story. Again, this is another traitor to America. That's just I'm just so sick of Soros and his family and his nonsense. It's just criminal treason. Not treason, but it's the POS. Do you want to do want to start with the Gavin Newsom clip?
Sure.
With the the
new
Maze
campaign?
Yeah, Maze is so good with that. Look at McDavid get throttled here.
What did you say?
David got crushed coming through. You never see him get hit. Hip to hip. Oh, they took him off the ice, too. No. I don't want him injured. There's another article here at Breitbart. ICE arrests convicted killer, child molester, and drug abuser. Domestic abuser. Minnesota Democrat admits she's an illegal alien in this country.
Yep. All right, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Monday night. Paul Nolan is here. Damon is somewhere. He's putting out a fire. And Yeah, we've been covering, and Ben Bergquam has been more than generous with sharing his time and his safety with us tonight. So we appreciate Ben and everybody at Real America's Voice for making sure they can make that happen and get us connected with him and bringing us live on the scene reporting from what's going on in Los Angeles during the insanity called the LA riots.
Yeah,
2025.
Ben's going to go get a safety.
Yeah, good work,
done,
Ben.
so
Get out of there.
Thanks to Ben. We had some other issues, but that's fine. What we're gonna do news with Paul,
Yeah,
right? We spent most of the night with Ben, so we haven't done too much news. But let's do a little news, Paul, because I know you had some stories you wanted to get to. What are they?
Well, these are the biggest stories in the whole wide world. Sorry, Rick.
Ooh,
I apologize.
wow.
Really?
You gonna take that?
Really?
But I'll keep them short. I'll keep them. I'll keep. That's great. I will keep them short and quick so we can keep the pace moving here. George Soros funded PAC to launch Texas Blue effort after Democrats failed to flip the state. A group known as the Texas Majority PAC is set to launch a Blue Texas initiative on Monday, according to the Wall Street Journal. The newspaper said the Texas Democrat Party and other county parties will join the effort that will culminate in a midterm elections next year. Soros has tried but failed in the past to turn Texas blue by throwing millions upon millions of dollars into the effort. The Wall Street Journal article recently said he donated another $1 million to the Texas Majority PAC. So, again, we let's keep exposing him, share these stories, and let's see if we can get somebody out there to make these PACs transparent and front page news in the mainstream media. So I wanted to get to that. Also, a group at the center of the initial anti-ICE protests funded by California federal government. This is from John Solomon at Just the News. The progressive activist group at the center of the anti-ICE protests in California received the majority of its budget revenue in recent years from California and federal grants by state. The official financial documents show the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, CHIRLA, staged one of the first Los Angeles rallies last week, protesting ICE on the city. Sharla rallied alongside other members of the LA Rapid Response Network, according to a public post on its Instagram account. The organization was joined by Service Employees International Union and LA Teachers Union, among others, supporting the immigrant group. So I figured I'd get to those, exposing, again, endless nonsense that we're seeing from these radical, completely Marxist, disgusting communists. And let's call them what they are now. They're not socialists, and they're not even Marxists at this point. They are full-blown communists, and I am had it with them.
Yeah. Put up this screenshot, Aaron, that I have this video. I'm not going to play the video. I just want to leave this one scene up. Put it full screen for a second. Do you know many protests that come prepared with bionic shield masks like this, seemingly in bulk, with the brand new open boxes with the instructions laying on top of the boxes there, like they just were opened. Like, and you talk about coordinated, funded. Like, look at this. You think guys just went down there with these new boxes and said, "Hey, we'll open them up there down on the streets"?
Yeah.
If you think you're going,
they just had an Amazon delivery Prime.
Right, you're not going to CVS or Walgreens to pick this up.
Yeah, no.
And I don't know if you guys, this just came in I'll leave it alone after this. Governor Gavin Newsom announced he plans to sue Trump administration for illegally acting to federalize the National Guard to contain the Los Angeles anti-deportation riots, accusing Pete Hegseth of being in over his head. When asked by left-wing YouTuber Brian Taylor Cohen if he had any confidence that Hegseth will be principled as former Defense Secretary Mark Esper was on Monday, Newsom coldly responded, Hegseth is a joke. He's a joke. Everybody knows it. And in over his head. What an embarrassment. So Gavin Newsom then tweeted, "This is exactly what Donald Trump wanted. He flamed the fires and illegally acted to federalize the National Guard. The order he signed doesn't apply just to California. It will allow him to go into any state and do the same thing. We're suing him." So we're talking about a guy who was trying to get to the center, realized he was a joke going to the center. He didn't have the patience, the gumption, or the integrity to get to the center. And here he is, completely selling out to his leftist, Marxist losers in his fan base, and he's done. We've seen Gavin Newsom just essentially end his career here because people are not going to support this.
No, definitely not. Even if he's trying to set up his own 2028 presidential campaign run. I know you sent this in, Paul, cut 5, his new campaign ad, right?
Please.
where of course, everybody's going to be.
It's okay, D. No
they're going to be
curses.
gushing. Yeah, Bono's not in this. They're going to be gushing over Gavin Newsom wanting to pull the lever for him. Cut 5, check this out.
There's the American dream and the California dream. There's no Alabama dream. Eat your heart out, Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. This is California. The world looks to us to see that it's possible to live, advance, and prosper together across every conceivable difference. It's what makes this state great, that we don't tolerate that diversity as we once
Shout
had.
out to Mays with another great meme.
Today,
just constantly pumping out. We both saw this on our feed today, right?
Diversity.
Yeah. So there you have it. Your Democratic nominee for president 2028, old slick, oily slick Gavin Newsom himself.
Here's one that's not fake, not green screened at all. And boy, the left is going to hate this one as much. Here's our guy, Harry Enton, and just what I was telling Ben Bergquam before. Listen to this.
If we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket. Compare now versus 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Look at this. In his first term, Trump was way, way, way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now, in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration. No wonder the Times has written up the way that he is. Trump is begging for a fight on this because he knows what he's doing so far is working with the American electorate.
Where does immigration rank on you?
There you go.
It's just amazing. And when you see the pictures, and the thing is, and this is what the left doesn't understand, pictures and videos don't lie. People see this. Even if you don't see it on ABC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, you will see it because most people will get their news and are getting their news not from the mainstream media. They're getting it from places like Real America's Voice. They're going on Twitter. They're going on X. They're going everywhere, and they're seeing everything that we've shown you and a whole lot more. So if you think you can kind of gloss over this, Dems, to be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. It was just a few people got out of hand. No. This is we talked about black fatigue and this fatigue and that fatigue. We're getting sick of communist fatigue, of liberal fatigue. That's what this country's getting tired of. You want boys and girls sports. You want all this crazy stuff, and you want riots and burning down cities.
Yeah. There was an MSNBC reporter tonight, speaking of an unhinged rant. He went on actually standing in front of a Home Depot, which I found somewhat amusing. He said, quote, there are more people of color that live in L.A. than white people at this point. Many of those people are undocumented. They are our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends. And he went on and on and on, defending people burning cop cars, throwing bricks at federal officers, burning down federal buildings. These are your co-workers, friends, neighbors, good people, according to MSNBC. That's what you're dealing with in the media. All right, as always, we want to salute our military, active and active police, firefighters, first responders, of course, right in the middle of it there in L.A. The great Ben Bergquam. Of course, we want to thank him and hope he stays safe out there. Everybody at Real America's Voice, Aaron Frank, great job as always. Guys on the show, great job. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here, live from Studio 6B. Have a good night, everybody.